Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Collective. We have another fantastic show for you planned out today. Very excited. Sam, you're back on. It's been a little while. Fran, also back on. Been a little while. Great to see you both. Very excited to get this conversation started. Before I do that, I want to remind everybody make sure you like the show, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That way you get your email every day that we go live, which is, of course, every day. So, we're going to be getting into mindset mastery, mindset growth mindsets, all these good things. But before we do that, Fran, you have a little, you have a package, right?
I,
Ooh,
I
what
do
package you got?
I do have a package, and I also have to call attention that you shaved since the last time I saw
Indeed, I
you.
did.
So you look great. You look
Oh,
great.
thank you. I
But
appreciate it.
yeah, I have this package from some guy in Canada.
Hmm.
Sent it to me after our last conversation because I challenged you on those mugs that you're drinking, and couldn't. I failed. Well, you failed. I say I failed, but you failed to send me one of those mugs.
Dude, do
But
not fail with those
sometimes,
scissors live on
I
the
know, right?
intergalactic podosphere.
Yeah,
But sometimes a little public shaming is all that is required to get you what you want.
true.
It
So
got.
and
Yeah.
it got so I have to
Oh, I taped the
assume
crap out of that
you
too.
really
Don't worry.
did.
You're gonna get your
You really
CrossFit
did.
on right now, is what's happening.
Yeah, having just returned from the CrossFit Games, not as a competitor. I covered it for the Jedburgh podcast, and as a media partner, I will tell you that there are some fit folks in here. But look at that. That epitomizes what I've gone
Bam.
through over the last week. But
And it's a
do your
Gen
best. And
1.
this is a
Bam.
big one. This
Yeah.
is a big mug. This isn't
20
one of these
ounces.
little ones. 20 ounce. So I've only got to fill this like 3 times during the day to get my coffee fix, and I'll be good to go.
We all set. Don't worry. And I wanted
Well,
to
I
make sure.
appreciate this, guys. Thanks.
Hey, my pleasure.
That's awesome.
You guys, you got a Gen 1 too. Same one, Gen 1 here. Because on the Gen 3s, it says pick up your pace on the back. So I didn't want to push you too hard. I wanted to
Yeah,
make sure that you just did
we
your best.
we don't want you
Well-
frazzling out, Fran, because you didn't recarb before this episode. So you get a Gen 1 mug, not a Gen 3 mug.
Excuse me. You're going to pretend that I'm all not prepared here because
Snap, you got the pour.
Oh, bam!
boom,
There you go. That's
Boom.
doing your best right there. That is doing your best.
done
Literally
and
did
done.
his best. Yeah.
Sit down.
There you go. I like it. Yeah. Don't worry.
And
Sam.
I didn't even clean this mug.
Why
okay? I
would
didn't
you?
even clean
Why
it.
would you? Dust of excellence.
Doesn't it come clean? I mean, really.
Oh, maybe at one point.
At some point, yeah. Sam, don't worry. I'm going to get you one too. I just have to figure out shipping over the UK.
No problem.
So don't worry. You're going to get one too.
On a slow boat is what
I'm
it'll
trying
be.
to hide my rubbish mug now.
Hide that one off in the
Oh,
corner.
you call that a mug, Sam?
Oh, man. The,
Well done.
the colonies
Well
are
done.
calling you out there, brother. It's a great time. So we're going to be talking mindset today. Mindset mastery or growth mindsets, any of all these things kind of getting into it. But let's first, I want to talk about definition of what mindset is. Because, it's a kind of a buzzword right now online, and I just want to throw up a quick definition of mindset, and I'm going to get your guys' view of it, your understanding of it. So, the definition of mindset is the established set of attitudes held by someone, which is kind of interesting. The the example it says is the region seems stuck in a medieval mindset, which is kind of like Afghanistan, but a little bit up. Fran, let's start with you. What's your concept of mindset or mindset mastery?
Sorry, just before Fran jumps in with the mega, just want to make sure that we're starting things off really clearly, and that is there's 2 words there.
Mindset and mastery, yes, of course.
Yeah, and so lots of people have mindsets. Some of them are rubbish, as Sam likes to say. I mean, that's his word, rubbish. He doesn't always say mindsets are rubbish, but rubbish is a great English word. And
It's a British word for trash.
It is. It's terrible. Mindset is is less interesting to me than the mastery aspect, because mindset is a buzzword that, like you said, Chance, is in every second sentence nowadays. But mastery is an assumed word that I think is more important to this conversation. So maybe you could pull up a quick definition of mastery, or you could refer to the IG post that I put up about 15 minutes before I came over here that talks about mastery. Because mindset, you can have all the mindsets in the world, but mindset mastery is a completely different thing.
Okay. Well, let me give you the definition of mastery then. It is the comprehensive knowledge or skill in a subject or accomplishment. It is the action or process of mastering a subject or accomplishment, control or superiority over someone or something, which is an interesting way to look at it as well. So, Fran, I'm going to come back to you there. What is your concept of mindset mastery?
Well, I'm.
Oh, gonna,
Did you say
yep.
come back to Fran or go to
I was
Fran?
Gonna, I was going to go back to Fran, but yes.
Check. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Go for it.
I'm just trying to screw you around, pal.
This, all right. So we talk about mindset mastery, right? What are we talking? We are talking about two different things, right? And we're talking about a time, something that has to do with a time and space, and we're talking about something that has to do with, with actually how we think about things, right? So mindset first. What's mindset? Mindset's how we think about things, how we think about a situation, how we think about a perspective, how we think about an event. You name it. Our mindset is going to be the way in which we think about whatever it is at hand. Most commonly, in the terms in which we're speaking here, the mindset is going to be how we're talking about a situation or an event or a feeling, right? An emotion at times. Mastery, I believe, is the application of the correct mindset, or a mindset. Let's say the correct mindset is the application of a correct mindset to get us through whatever it is, the situation, the challenge, the event that we're focused on. Okay. So that's really when we talk about leadership development, when we talk about building teams, individuals, elite performance, what we're coaching and developing are all these different mindsets, and we can put names on all of them, right? We could even refer to some characteristics, whether that be the ones I use the most are drive, resiliency, adaptability. These are all different mindsets that we can go into a situation with. Mastery, it becomes our ability to apply the correct mindset at the right time, at the right place, in order to achieve the effect that we are looking for to overcome, succeed, whatever we may be trying to do, that challenge that sits in front of us. That's how I would define it.
I like that. Sam, what are your initial thoughts on mindset?
You want me to expand on that? That was a good answer.
Well, how about just your answer then?
No, I think that's a brilliant answer. I mean, like you say, when you join the two together, and like was brought up at the start, defining mastery, because can anybody master anything? And I think what Fran pointed out there was great. Is in the fact is a different environment, a different activity, something you're going into something different is going to require a different mindset approach, isn't it? But I guess what we're looking for is the foundations of your mindset. If they're right, if you can go into any situation calm, non-judgmentally, empathetic, and like you said, you can use all those qualities of a leader. We have the mnemonics in the Marines, JUBWIC, judgment, understanding, bearing, willpower, integrity, courage, knowledge. If you go into these situations with that foundations of a mindset, that's going to set you in good stead. But mindset mastery, I'd be super interested to know what line you go down tonight with that, because I know you could be the coolest, calmest person on the BJJ mats, for example. I put you into a boxing ring, watch your head fall off, because you've not dealt with that level of anxiety getting punched in the face. So I'm really interested to hear where you go with this, with mindset mastery, because I think you can train it. You can have a foundation that will help you in any circumstance. But I think to become an elite, to become a master, you have to really focus on, specific taskings.
I like that.
Can I give an example?
Absolutely, Fran. Go
Would that
for
be
it.
all right? So I was So I had a very fortunate opportunity over the last week to be at CrossFit Games, and Jedberg podcast. My show was invited to CrossFit Games to cover it as a media outlet. We started the week, and there's one of the top athletes, a guy who finished second last year. His name's Roman Krenikov. He's Russian by birth. He's gone through a tremendous struggle in his life in order to actually get to the U.S., and he was the favorite to win. He was the leader of the elites, the top men in the world, for the first 3 days, like every event. I think there was like maybe one or two that he didn't finish first, but he was clearly in the lead by a tremendous amount of points. On the first event on Sunday, there were three different events on Sunday. The very first one in the morning, he broke his foot. Okay. This guy is an absolute rock star. Jesse Graff and I, my co-host, had the opportunity to interview him on Wednesday before competition began and sit down with him and talk about his mindset going into the event. How was he going to approach it? He finished second last year. He finished I think it was fourth or something. He came in I think seeded fourth after semifinals and had finished second in Wadapalooza. And what he talked about was, I'm here to win. I'm here to win at all, like whatever it's going to take to win. That is why I'm here. I don't come to get second place. I don't come to get anything but winning. Well, he got hurt. And the next event after the broken foot required double unders. Okay, so double unders, right? Jump rope, 2 times, 1 jump, 2 spins. Well, how do you do that on a broken foot? Right? Well, he went out there and he did it on 1 foot. He didn't finish well because it was just not, obviously it wasn't possible. Then we get into the final. And the final was a combination of some lifts, bar lifts, as well as the eco bike for calories. And he came out and he got on the eco bike and he attempted the eco bike for the duration of the workout. He ended up finishing in third. He made the podium. That's how far ahead he was, despite basically timing out on the remaining events. But when we talk about mastery of mindset, when we talk about having to adapt and think about the situation that you're in and going into something as important of an event like CrossFit Games that you've been training for your entire life, and it culminates with you finally getting your visa to the US and you lead for 3 days over 9 different events. And now all of a sudden you're faced with, I can't even potentially compete. 9 out of 10 people get broken in that moment. Unless you can find the mindset of resiliency, adaptability, drive, whatever it might be, that's going to get you through to go out there and know that the whole world is watching you, unable to achieve your potential, and you still compete at whatever level you can because it's that important. That's mastery of mindset.
Well, I guess we'll just call the podcast. Well done, Fran. That's
Can I
basically
just
the answer I needed. But yeah,
add
go
on
ahead,
that?
Sam.
Well, I'm interested. So like that reminds me back to like your military training, isn't it? And we've all done a military training here. And I actually didn't realize when I was training to get my Green Beret that it was an option to quit. I used to see people quit, but I still never fathomed it was an option. I was like, how are they doing that? Like, I didn't realize that was an option. Earn the Green Beret. So I can understand that mindset of why he didn't quit. Now, with mastering the mindset, what I'd be wondering is, how is his mindset now? He's came third. That's what
I'll
I'm
tell you.
interested
They
in.
asked him. They said, "How does it feel to be third?" And his answer, I don't remember the exact words, but his answer was, "I may have well lost."
Yeah.
I can't.
So how's he going to handle that now? That's what I'm interested in.
Well, now he's focused on recovery and he's focused on next year.
Yeah.
I mean, and you bring up, is it an option to quit? I was having this conversation the other day actually about Ranger School. It's certain, and I was talking to some folks who either they hadn't, or if they hadn't gone, or what, it doesn't matter. But that was my perspective. When I went to selection for Special Forces and when I went to Ranger School, was that there was no world in which I didn't make it. Absolutely none. And one of the things I'll never forget in my life was getting dropped off at Ranger School at 3:15 or whatever it is, 3:15, 3:30 in the morning on that first day, and my wife saying, "Don't come home without it." Knowing, hey, you're going to be gone, right, for 61 days, whatever. Don't come home without it, because she knew that my mindset was that it was win at all costs, and that there was no version of me that was going to be able to come home without it. And that a lot of times I think about, that was the motivation that I kept in the back of my mind for 61 days at Ranger School. Don't come home without it.
I like that. That's it's like the old Spartan adage: "Come back with your shield or upon it." Right?
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're doing it. Sean, you got any thoughts so far?
Yeah, I've got several. But to the most recent one, as you were just saying, pal, earn it at any cost, or don't come back without it. I wish I had $1 for every time I've heard someone say that and not execute against it. It's like a glib statement. It's like easy peasy lemon squeezy. Don't come back without it. I mean, we've all heard loads of guys say that, but not execute against that. It's easy to say on day 1. It is not easy to say on day 60. And by the way, by day 60, there's far few people saying it, of course. And so I think it's interesting mindset, to your point, as you just said. The mindset in order to achieve epically hard things, or to achieve a green beret, or to achieve something that is notable. There's lots of people before us and lots of people after us that have achieved these things. But how I view it is mindset mastery. When you combine those two words, you can do all the Ranger courses in the world. But what you really need to do is several Ranger courses. You need to have a mindset that mastery of mindset only occurs over consistent and long-term execution against that mindset. So Sam is an example. He didn't show up on the BJJ mats yesterday and get a black belt today. It is a lengthy process that takes a long, long time of a lot of sweat, blood, and tears. Anything worth earning is hard to earn, but mastery requires earning it, and then earning some more, and then earning some more. Mastery is a really, really, really long process of failures and micro wins, and understanding that you'll never actually reach the mastery stage per se. In my opinion, I think there are people out there who achieve mastery to some degree, but not the pinnacle of that is what mastery looks like. I consider people who've reached mastery to be a loose definition of that's possible, and that is a form of mastery. But I don't think there's anyone on the planet who is a master. Like the definition on Wikipedia or on the Encyclopedia Britannica, there's a photo of them as a master. But mastery can be something that you seek over a long, long period of time. The photo that I put up this morning when I was talking about mastery on my IG post was a photo of a headshot. I'd taken a cold, clean bore shot and then 2 other rounds, and they were basically they weren't quite touching, but they were all within an inch space right between the eyes on a target at a certain distance in a very highly dynamic, fluidized situation. And so in order to make those shots, it required mastery. And at the level that I was shooting it at that point, I was considered one of the best in Canada. And so that is a certain level of mastery. But my photo isn't in any books that is a title underneath me that says master. Being a master, I don't think I'll ever achieve, but seeking to achieve mastery through a mindset that pursues mastery, that is something that is interesting to me.
I like that a lot. I'm gonna pull up that image here in just 1 second so we can see it, and then we can discuss it a little bit, as I just saved it onto my website. But while I get that sorted, let's discuss this. So, we kind of went into it a little bit in terms of what some of the misconceptions are about what mindset mastery is, and I'd like to hear from you guys what what your thoughts are on, how people misconstrue what mastery is or what mindset is, because there's a lot of misconceptions about what mindset is. But I'm going to start with you, Sam. What are some of your thoughts on the misconceptions of mastery?
Well, I guess, is that book being debunked now or not? The 10,000 hours. Is it? Are we still onto the 10,000 hours?
I think some master debunked that you can't be a master in 10,000 hours.
Yeah. It's like you say, it's time served, but I know plenty of people that have spent a lot of time on the mat that I would definitely not call a master, so it's definitely a lot more than just time served doing something, isn't it? It's that, what are you doing with that time? How committed are you with that time? With regards to, the problem is it's all everybody's own opinion and mindset, isn't it? Someone that thinks they've got a strong mindset, they've got a different definition to a strong mindset than what I have, or mindset mastery. They're comparing it to their life experience. They're comparing it to the world that they're living in. They're comparing it to the people that they surround themselves with. If they're top dog in their group of 5, they think they've got mindset mastery, don't they? But that's the group of people they've decided to surround themselves with. So I like to surround myself with winners, that people are high achievers than me. So I'm probably never going to think I've achieved mindset mastery. Do you know what I mean? Because I want to constantly grow. I want to constantly get uncomfortable. If I see people not getting uncomfortable, 100%, I don't think that they've got any interest in mastering their mindset. You should be constantly striving to get uncomfortable. So I guess, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, people have their own opinions on whether they've achieved it or not.
Yeah, Fran, you got some thoughts there?
Yeah, I'll give you this. What's the root word, right? The root word of mastery is master. Okay. And so by definition, you have to do something a lot of times, and you have to do something a lot of times well. Josh Bridges is a former Navy SEAL turned one of CrossFit's greats, right? I interviewed him last year, and he has a great quote, and he says that we don't train until we get it right. We train until we can't get it wrong. When I think about mastery, that's the quote that comes to my mind, because any one of us can get up there and hit a great drive on the golf course, right? But can you do it 1,000 times in a row? And that's what we're talking about, right? It's what happens is when we train, when we develop ourselves, when we go to the gym, when we create projects, at work, what you name it, right? It doesn't matter. We get it right once, and then we turn around, we look in the mirror, we flex our arms, we go, yeah, awesome, I crushed it. I'm good at this. When what we need to be telling ourselves is, can I do it 1,000 more times until every single time I do it, it's done just like this. That's mastery. That's what separates elite from everybody else, is that willingness, that understanding, and that desire, that drive to immediately say to yourself, hey, I didn't do anything. I did it once. Great. That's an achievement. Be proud. Now I have to do it over and over and over again until I never get it wrong. That's mastery.
Like that a lot. Sean, you got any thoughts? I got the image here.
Yeah, I do. Sam and Fran are kind of crystallizing my own thoughts as well. I mean, if your idea of mastery is between you and your 2 buddies, well, maybe you're the master of the universe, a 3-person universe. And to Fran's point, I feel that mastery is something that is a relentless, a ferocious pursuit of excellence that you're never satisfied with. I mean, irrespective of whatever minor accomplishments I've achieved in life, I just ain't satisfied. And I don't mean I'm unhappy. I mean, I just want to do better. I want to improve upon my version of myself from yesterday, as it were. And so that's what made me a pretty good shot to some degree as a sniper, was I was never satisfied with, if my bullet holes weren't touching, I was unimpressed with myself. And it wasn't a case of they had to touch. It was just my own personal standard of, I had high expectations of myself in the process of pursuing mastery. Now, being called a master sniper doesn't make you a master. It just means that you've been in the game for a while. But the act of pursuing mastery as a master sniper is the key. A title doesn't make you something. How you live your life is what makes you something, in my opinion.
Like that. I have that image from your Instagram post. Do you want me to put it up?
Yeah, sure.
So here we go. We have, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger here. See if we can't make it big. There we go. So yeah, nice 3-round group. What's the range on this there?
It's a range of non-description. I
Raj?
won't say.
Far. Let's put it that way.
The distance is blacked out for a reason.
Yeah, Raj, that makes sense. But yeah, that's I would consider that a pretty good shot. The thing that you kind of clicked in my head as we were talking about this was I saw a post a little while ago of his name escapes me, but it was the guy attributed with creating judo in Japan. I can't remember his name.
Kano?
I think so, yeah. And the post was the fact that when he died, he asked that he be buried in his white belt rather than his black belt, in that he would always remain a student of the art rather than a master of the art. And so I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that in terms of, is there a point in which you can actually attain a mastery of something, especially mindset too, because to Fran's point earlier, it kind of depends on what you're applying it to, right? So is there a point in time where you can attain mastery in something, especially your mindset, or is it more just the journey of seeking it? Fran?
Well, you have to love the process. I think that's really important, right? You can't. We put these goals out there, right, and then we beat ourselves up every day when we don't achieve the goal, and we forget that the point of the goal was to get there, right? The point of the goal is to embark upon a journey that is going to take us to get there, right? So too often, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to eat well. I'm gonna get my college degree. Okay, I'm gonna get an advanced degree. You name it, right? I'm gonna stop drinking, and then we make that commitment. Almost often it's like at night, right? And then we wake up the next day, we do one thing, have a protein shake for breakfast instead of last night's pizza, and then we go, this is hard. This sucks. That pizza's in there. I'm gonna have it for lunch. Fuck my goal. Oh, sorry, I can't swear. So forget my bad. Forget my goal. Right?
Kick right in the shin.
Yeah, there we go. Kicking the shins. So party foul. Right? And we throw it out. When we forget about the fact that the goal is often long term. The goal is called a goal for a reason, because we have to embark upon a journey to get there. And that journey has to be embraced. That path has to be embraced. So we become impatient, and then we throw it out, and then we make excuses. We find reasons to why we can't do it. But we also put unrealistic expectations on ourselves. What if I eat pizza 4 days a week? Am I going to wake up tomorrow and not eat pizza? Ever? Absolutely not. That's an unrealistic goal. But could I do it 3 days a week? Could I not have 7 slices of pizza, which is actually very hard for me because I love pizza? Okay. If we're an alcoholic or we drink a lot and we don't want to drink as much, is it reality to say that tomorrow I'm not going to drink anything? Maybe for some it is. For most, I would argue it is not. So we have to put our mindset has to be, I'm going to have ups and downs along this journey, but it's the journey that I care more about, that I'm going to embrace day in and day out. That's going to become part of me. That's what I'm going to love. And if I love the journey, the results will come. My goal will come. If all we're doing every day is waking up, looking at the goal, and then trying to figure out why we're not there yet, it's never going to happen. And I'll tell you what, one more thing. We are all succumb to this. I teach and coach this to people. And you want to know the first thing I do every single morning? I wake up and I see how many people downloaded my podcast yesterday. And it's literally like the most unhealthy thing you can do.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you brush your teeth? Because that almost might offset it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Sometimes that comes after.
That's a great point, though. Sam, you got any thoughts on that?
Chance, before Sam jumps in, can you please be prepared to show the verbiage that went with that post? You don't have to do it until I'm hopping in, but sorry, Sam.
No, it's all right. Yeah, just on that, I would concur exactly what you're saying. It's almost the mindset mastery is the pursuit of mindset mastery. It's understanding that you're pursuing it and you're going to put time in it. Can you master something? I think you can be the master at something for a season. I think Gordon Ryan right now is the master of grappling without a gi on. Okay, will he be the master forever? No, someone's going to beat him. Someone will be better than him at one time. So then is he not a master anymore? Well, of course he is, but he's not the master. You know, there's the masters in every art, but it's for a season. It's for a time. So it's going back to it's the pursuit, it's the journey, the continuation, the time, and understand. Like, I agree with that with the quote what you're saying. He wants it buried in his white belt because he's always a student. I get the analogy of it. I don't want buried in my white belt. I want both my black belts and my green beret in there. But I'm only joking. I'm only joking. But you're always a black. You realise as soon as you get a black belt, all you've done is you've joined the pool of black belts. Like, you're at the bottom of the black belt pile, you know, and there's a load of masters above you in that. So is there an elite master? Yeah, of course there is. There's the best in the world at every art. They're your elite masters for that season, for that time.
Well, Sam, this is a very important point, right? That you're bringing up here. Okay. This is about getting a seat at the table and what you do after you have that seat at the table, right? So if we're going to become a black belt, if we're going to get hired into that executive role, if we're going to take a board seat, okay, if we're going to earn our green beret or our ranger tab, all that's going to require a process. We're going to get through that process, okay, assuming success, right? And we're going to don the green beret. We're going to take the job. We're going to walk into the room, okay? We're going to get a seat at the table. But once you're sitting at that table, that's day one. Because everyone else who's sitting at that table, every other one who's wearing that beret, everybody else who's sitting in that team room, okay, or that locker room on the sports team, guess what? They did it too. But you know what else? They did it before you. And they have something you don't have. Time in the unit, time in the organization, experience at a level that you don't have. So we should be excited. We should be proud of ourselves. We should pat ourselves on the back. We should hug our family, right? And we should wear our achievement with pride when we walk into that room and sit at the table. But we have to be humble enough to understand that from, I don't know anything right now. This is day one. Now I have to earn my place every single day because everybody else who's here, they've been here. They understand what's going on to an extent. They have an experience level that I don't have. Now, how am I going to conduct myself?
I love that. That's what we have Sprog routine when we join the Marines. You earn that green beret and you're the biggest guy on camp when you earn that green beret. And then when you get drafted to your first unit, you are the lowest of the lowest of the lowest.
Yep. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Why do you think the NFL teams make the rookies wear pads? Rookies sign a multi-million-dollar contract, drafted number one in college. Guess what they're doing in mid-July? Carrying the pads.
I was just commenting to my family the other day. We were wandering around and somebody had gotten a new job and they were like, "Oh yeah, and I'm having to do all this work and having to do all this extra stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, that's new guy stuff. That's just doesn't matter where you go. New guy stuff is new guy stuff. And if you're the new guy, you're going to be doing, cleaning, you're going to be cleaning, you're going to be doing extra work, you'll be doing all that stuff because every previous new guy was doing the exact same thing because they were new at some point as well. Sean, you got some thoughts?
Yeah, on the earn your seat every day, that's a pretty regular statement over here. And literally earn your seat at the table today in this live podcast, as it were. So that's what I try to do over here on the podcast. That's what I tried to do in Tier 1. That's what I've tried to do all my life. If I'm involved with a group, I try to earn my place. And then once I've earned my place, I try to maintain my place by earning my place that day. It's a never-ending process, which is key to this conversation as far as I'm concerned. You can have all kinds of bizarre mindsets out there, but what does happen over a long period of time is you actually get to understand what your mindset is. Cherry pick a mindset for Monday mindset, Tuesday mindset, Wednesday mindset. They're all different, but over about a decade, you'll refine that mindset into only one mindset. And that's the mindset that you require to seek the outcome that you're pursuing. So the photo that I put up this morning that Chance had just put up briefly, that photo is almost irrelevant to the topic because as far as I'm concerned, that was an average day of shooting. Pretty mediocre, if I'm being honest. Good shooting compared to most people, but average for me. Average for the guys that I was hanging out with on my team. And so it's the photo isn't the impressive part. What is impressive, if I'm gonna say anything is impressive in that, is the consistency of effort it took to get to the point where I was shooting that. That's a lot of shooting to get to that point. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of performance. That's a lot of expectations. That's a lot of earn your seat every day. Mindset, you can show up on day one with a mindset, like I said, and that's Monday mindset. But what about 10 years later? What is your actual mindset? Well, again, that's time tested. And over a consistent period of time, you'll figure out how close you are getting to mastery. Chance, could you pull up that verbiage that I was talking about previously? This is my opinion on mastery. I'll read it out super quick. Mastery refers to the highest level of skill, expertise, or proficiency achieved in a particular field, discipline, or activity. It goes beyond basic competence and signifies a deep understanding, exceptional ability, and a high level of performance. Mastery is often characterized by the ability to consistently produce outstanding results and navigate complex challenges within a specific domain. Mastery is a journey that requires time, effort, patience, and a willingness to face challenges and setbacks along the way. It's not a destination, but a continuous process of growth and refinement. While achieving mastery is a significant accomplishment, many masters emphasize that the pursuit of mastery is itself a deeply rewarding and fulfilling experience. That is my opinion on mastery. Now, if you apply mastery against your mindset, or you apply mindset within mastery seeking, then it's going to take you a whole lot further than that Monday mindset, day one mindset. I've now got a mindset. But mindset isn't important until you start applying it over a long period of time in an adverse situation to better understand who you are and what you bring to the table in respect to mastery, as it were.
Speed reading is a mastery of Sean's as well.
Well, I didn't want to waste anyone's time.
No, it was awesome.
I feel like you practiced that.
I didn't. I'm quite surprised I didn't glitch that, but that's mastery, buddy. That's just a lot of practice.
A lot of practice, no big deal. Any other thoughts on that? I have a kind of another question to go to, but you guys got any, Fran or Sam, you got any thoughts on it? What Sean just said? Groovy?
No, I guess I'd go full circle. I'm still curious of mastering the mind, then I'm really interested in people's actual definition because we kind of keep swerving off to mastering certain things, but to me it's something that can be applied to every situation.
Yeah.
Are you
I
getting
agree.
up and being consistent with your mindset, with the constant want to grow and get uncomfortable? I see that as mastering the mindset, and you'll have an overall kind of mastery from that.
I think you're onto something. This goes into the question that I wanted to ask, but Sean, were you
Yeah,
saddling up
just
for something?
that classic case of how you do one thing is how you do 1,000 things. How you approach your day is how you approach your life. It's just, are you consistent or are you randomly inconsistent throughout life? If you want to earn your seat at the table every day, you got to show up and earn every day consistently without showing up with multiple personalities, without showing up, sometimes getting after it and sometimes being a lazy slob. You've got to consistently earn, you've got to consistently perform, not only for yourself when you get out of bed, but for the team. That once you get out of bed and brush your teeth, or check your statistics and then brush your teeth, you've got to be able to step into the remainder of the day understanding what you're supposed to produce that day consistently, not just for you, but for the team that you've wrapped around yourself, whether that's family, friends, your business, co-workers, your podcasting, whatever it is that you're involved in. It's your job each day to perform against the tasks consistently, heading towards mastery, hopefully, if you're really getting after it.
Fran, you got something?
I know you want to get to ask another
give her.
question here, but
Give her.
Sean just brought up a really, really important point here. Success and greatness is made in the micro moments. Okay, so he said how you live, how you do something every day is how you live your life, or something to that effect. But micro moments of character, micro moments of performance set your mindset and condition your mind and your body to do the right thing, do the hard thing all the time. What am I talking about? Walking by a piece of trash and picking it up. Okay, making the spelling error adjustment on your caption before you hit post on Instagram or LinkedIn. Someone going to see it? Maybe, maybe not. Is it right? No. Do you take the extra second and fix it? You should, right? If I have a messy locker room, okay, and I let my athletes come in and throw their clothes and their dirty uniforms all over, and the gym is a mess and everything, then when I put them in the boat, when I'm talking rowing, right? When I put them in the boat, what am I reinforcing? And I'm trying to reinforce basic foundations about technique. How can I expect them to do the little things that matter? Because when you're sloppy in one part of your life, it's unreasonable to expect that you won't be sloppy in other areas of your life. So those little moments that seem innocuous, don't seem like a big deal, set the habit and set the foundation. Because if every time I see a dumbbell that's not put away in the gym, and I put the dumbbell away, and then I go downstairs, I put my rowing boat in the water, and the coach tells me to square my blade half a second sooner, I can do it. Micro moment. That's when we build character. That's when we build great teams and people.
Yeah. It actually, you guys are answering my question for me. I was going to ask about, how much do external factors play into the mastery of things? And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Fran, with it's those external factors, those micro moments, those little things that kind of come up in life that test your mastery in those moments. Am I online there? Am I off base? What do you guys think? Sean?
One of the great lessons that I learned when I became a senior NCO, or senior non-commissioned officer, is a simple statement. I learned tons of things, of course, but a simple statement that stood out to me was this: never pass a fault. Never pass a fault, man. Never let a fault slide. If it's you, correct it. If it's someone else, have them correct it. And so, to Fran's point, if someone's not putting away their dumbbells, you've got two choices in that moment. Well, you've actually got one choice. And the one choice that absolutely always has to happen is never pass a fault. But then once you move beyond that mental mindset, you've then got a branching decision. Do you look at that person and say, hey, put your dumbbells away? Or do you wait for them to saunter off, not putting their dumbbells away, and then do you put the dumbbells away for them? In other words, do you have that person correct their actions, or do you correct the actions for them once they saunter away? Either way, it's got to get sorted out. You cannot pass that fault. You cannot let this sloppiness start to build on itself. And so as you stated, if someone is posting something up without taking the extra few seconds to spell check, that's sloppy, man. That is letting faults slide. And the moment that I have to review someone's work and I see the errors, if I just shrug my shoulders and think, whatever, it's no big deal, that's me letting things backslide. That starts not only impacting my mindset, understanding that I'm getting sloppy and lazy, it also allows that person to have a hallway pass on being sloppy and lazy. And unless they're held accountable, well, that stuff builds, man. How you do one thing is how you do 1,000 things. And so I'm so glad that coming up through the system, I was taught that you never pass a fault.
And this is high praise coming from somebody from the PPCLI using the motto of the RCR. So that's high praise.
It's true.
Sam, you got any thoughts on that?
I just reiterate what I've said on podcasts probably 100 times before, is it goes back to that living what you preach then. So you're not practicing it, you're not doing it sometimes, you're living it. What you're doing when no one's watching. I love that micro moments that you talk about there. That is about who you are. That's your character, that's your values, isn't it? And you're living up to those. And, you know, that's it. You know, picking up that dumbbell, that's an external action of what's internal. And you're not doing that for other people to watch you put that dumbbell back. You're doing it because that's your standards that you set. That's your value system. That comes down to your integrity, your authenticity. And when we are living that, that's when the mastery happens. So yeah, I'd agree with everything that's been said there.
I like that.
You know, it's funny. I have regrets from my past, and I think we all do. But how I try to work around them is I just do my best. And if I know I did my best back then, I can almost be okay with it. Even though I'm sometimes not happy with the past outcomes, I can almost be okay with it because I know I was literally doing my best in the moment. But Sam, there's an image in my head of me walking past a little piece of garbage on the ground and looking at it and think, that's not my problem. Someone else threw that there. And I didn't do anything about it. And it still bugs me to this day. So, you know, for anyone who's out there listening, mindset, do one thing, it's how you do 1,000 things. All of these past moments that might bug us that we were sloppy or lazy or didn't do our best or we actually didn't care, well, that is in the past for sure. And there's nothing that we can do to change it. And focusing on a poor mindset in the past isn't going to help you create a better mindset right now. The only thing that's going to help you gain a better mindset right now is now. Consider doing it now, moving into the future with a better mindset, a stronger mindset, a mindset that doesn't allow you to pass faults. If you were doing it yesterday, that doesn't define your day to day, doesn't define the now. That's your opportunity now to change your mindset into never passing a fault for the rest of today. And then if you want to move towards mastery tomorrow and the day after, that's where you don't pass faults. You, through a process, apply your mindset over a long period of time consistently to maybe get closer to mastery, maybe achieve mastery, whatever that means to you. But it won't happen today. It didn't happen in the past. But you can get to work today by creating your future mastery.
The question I have on that then is, where's the line? Because if you know, let's use garbage as an example. You know, there's one thing of seeing garbage on the floor or not on the ground. Let's just say you're walking down the street. There's garbage on the ground. Okay, pick it up, throw it in the garbage. That's one thing. Let's say you see somebody else just toss garbage on the ground. Well, you can engage that person and they can tell you to screw off and walk away. Or maybe they engage in some sort of altercation now because you told them to throw their garbage away. So where's the line drawn between my responsibility and not my responsibility, right? Because there's never passing a fault, which could lead to altercations. It could lead to negative feelings. It could lead to head bashing. It could lead to all kinds of things, right? So what I'm wondering is where do you draw that line between how do I address the issue, but also is this something that I need to address? Sam, I'm going to go to you first.
I feel like Fran was going to answer your last question, so I kind of don't want to jump over him if he's still pondering on that. I do have an
He
answer
is
to
pondering.
this one, but I can
Go
see
ahead.
Fran's got
ahead.
something in him, and I don't want to
He's
stop
looking
it.
at that horizon.
Fran, you jump in. I can answer that after because
No,
I know
no.
you wanted to speak before.
Go ahead, Fran. Yeah, well, if you got something, by all means. hit us up.
No. I'm good on that one. I was thinking about this societal change question that you just threw out. That's
Okay.
but
Okay.
let's let Sam
Sam?
tackle it.
Give her.
No, for me, I see it's pretty simple, to be honest. Look, we've all got our own value system. We don't let external affect our value system. When we've talked about this before, we've all got different values. So I expect you all to think my values are the most important thing in the world because
They
they're
are.
the most important thing in the world to me.
To me,
in
they
the
are.
same way. So if I think someone dropping rubbish is the wrong thing to do, I can pick them up for it. But if they're still not going to pick it up, that doesn't mean that I go, well, I'm not picking it up then because I've not done it, because it's in my value system to not leave that there. So I don't let that agitate me. I have the non-judgmental, empathetic mindset of that person's got different life experiences to me. They've been through different things. They've obviously not been taught the tools that's important, but it's important to me. So I'm going to do it because I'm the one that wants to be able to sleep that night. So I can't control anybody else. Okay. So people change by observing how other people live. So if we stay true to our value system, then that will have a more positive knock-on effect. So never ever don't do something because you're agitated because somebody else has not done it. Like, stay true to your value system is my attitude on that.
Fran?
I 100% agree. I don't think you got to do what makes you feel good at the end of the day. And if that's, walking down the streets of New York City and tuning up everybody who throws trash on the ground, it might be a long day. So you got to kind of figure out what you care about, right? And where's the domain and where's the area where you're going to actually believe you have the most impact and can affect change. And that might be within your own organization. It might be broader society, right? I have a number of conversations with folks who've made huge impressions on society writ large. And I've always asked them the question, did you think you were going to change the world when you did this? And their answer is usually no, but I figured I'd do it for myself. And if anybody else jumped on board, that'd be cool. And I think that's where you got to start, right? Do it for yourself and then see, and then maybe you'll gain a following and it will go somewhere. When we're building elite organizations, to take your societal question and narrow it down, right? Like, I've got a team that lacks discipline, right? They don't follow general directions. They're generally sloppy. Well, we're gonna open up the pain train every day when they come in, because we're not gonna let anything fly. And that's that. But you're gonna approach that with a different attitude because your goal is going to be different. And your span of control is going to be different. And trying to get, five folks to play on a basketball team together, or 8 guys to row together, or my team of 15 or 20 in my company, to work together is going to be a lot different than trying to clean up the streets, right? Hey guys, I got to run. I got a 3:00, but I always enjoy you inviting me on and spending time and meeting new people. I hadn't met Sam today, but I've already followed him on Instagram, and hopefully you guys would pass me his contact info and we'll talk to him. And just do your best. I saw it on a mug one time.
Buddy.
It was a sick mug. Just do your best.
Let us know where you bought that. I wouldn't mind getting one.
Yeah.
I'll send you the store.
Well done.
Thanks, brother. If you got to
Okay,
jump, by
guys.
all means, we'll
Appreciate
talk later.
it. Thanks for everything.
Let me let him dive off there. But Sean, you got any thoughts?
I do. So Fran was talking about, New York City and tuning up everyone or not as you're moving through New York City over the garbage. And it made me think of, so our mindsets are our mindsets. And if your mindset is to sort out all the garbage in New York City, it's probably not heading towards mastery. It's probably just trying to put your finger in the dike, as it were, to stop the flooding. But that to me isn't mastery. That's just reactive to life's problems. That isn't pursuing mastery, as it were. And so the simplest way I could set it up in my mind is if you're in a standard issue town and you see someone smoking a cigarette and then they just flick their burning cigarette into the bushes and keep on walking, I'm probably gonna have to say something like, "Hey, man, do you think that's cool?" Particularly given that we're in wildfire season right now and half of our province is on fire. Do you think that's cool? So I'm gonna, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm gonna say something because to me that is now endangering property and public, or endangering lives and resources, as it were. And so I can't turn a blind eye to that. If it's someone throwing a wrapper on the ground and walking, maybe I'll say something, maybe I won't. It depends on the circumstances, because there's a wild difference between walking down a pristine sidewalk in a exotic location where all the butterflies are flying around you versus walking down a garbage-filled street in New York City. They're two different environments. And so if one is a norm and the other one is a norm, you can't be in the garbage-strewed cities trying to jack up everyone for throwing garbage on the ground when it's a common thing. So I think you've got to have an understanding of what the environment is that you're trying to operate within, and maybe not change, but at least interoperate with, before you start wagging your finger at someone throwing garbage on the street, as it were. So our mindsets, like Sam said, are our mindsets. We don't have to impose our mindsets on anyone else, but I think more correctly, we have to fluidize our mindsets given the environmental conditions that we're in, as it were.
I think that actually goes back to your original thought, Sam, was when you were talking about, how do you apply mastery? How do you apply mindset mastery to different realms, right? It's because, if you have mastery at one point where you're looking at, just a second, buddy. When you apply mastery to one thing, which is, picking up garbage or maintaining a clean environment, depends on what your environment is, right? And then you got to figure it out from there. What are you got some initial thoughts on how to develop that mindset across the board? Not right now, boys. I'll be right there. They're coming after me.
Love it. Kids are
Mindset,
awesome at
mindset
it.
and mastery is slipping at this
Mindset
point.
mastery. It's coming along here. Let me,
How professional.
Yep, good time. So I'll let Sam. What are your thoughts on how to keep mastery within multiple realms?
First,
Let you guys go.
yeah.
You got any
Well,
thoughts?
first, I'll just jump on what Sean said there because I really liked what he said because it reminded me of somebody that were telling me a story about, like, it's a big one for me to look after the poor and needy. But that's all well and good if you live in a town with 3 homeless people. But then walk down New York City, you might be walking past 1,000 homeless people. So what are you going to do? You can't, you'd not get to work if that was your journey to work. So I really like what he's saying there. You got to adapt to your environment. So how do you do that? Well, maybe you look after one person on your journey to work. You stop and you have a conversation with one, maybe something like that, so you adapt it. But again, it's just going back to what I said. It's about foundations. What are you doing when no one's watching is ultimately your mindset, isn't it? And consistency, like, I don't need to tell you guys. I mean, the first thing I was actually going to say when I come on this is, like, a massive congratulations with the consistency that you both had through to do this every single day, the collective. And I know Sean's on his Instagram before this every single day. Like, that consistency, that's what it's about, And yeah, you're being accountable to other people, but if no one was watching, you'd still be doing it because you said you were going to do it. That's what it's all about. That's the mindset I look at. You can become a master of an art, but you can still have a really poor mindset, and we see that in some of the superstars in various sports. They've mastered the art. They're beating everyone, but what's their mindset like? Like, what's their attitude like? It can be pretty poor with other areas of their life. So, again, it goes back to me living in your value system. Just be consistent and constantly getting uncomfortable. I repeat myself because it's the same things. But how do you handle adversity? Is your head falling off? Or are you actually living what you preach? Are you actually doing what you say that you do? It's all well and good reading a book and saying the right words, but you got to live it. And the only way of doing that is getting uncomfortable as often as possible.
Agreed. Actually, you said something, Sam, that I hadn't put the two words together in the way that I just put them together now based on what I just heard from you. And that's mindset is required to achieve a certain sense of mastery somewhere down the long path. But once you achieve some form of mastery, you're wholly dependent upon keeping your right mindset in order to manage that mastery moment. So if you're an NFL player or you're large and in charge and mega famous and making all the money in the world, maybe it took you 5 or 10 years to get to that point, that privileged point where you are making $20 million a year to throw a ball through a hoop. Well, that's fantastic. Congratulations. But if your mindset gets forgotten once you've achieved that quote unquote mastery, well, it's all for naught. Now you're that brand spanking new black belt on the BJJ mats, getting the first big symposium paycheck that you teach, but you turned into a jerk because you finally reached the moment that you've assigned as the pinnacle of your life or your career or your trajectory. It's called your first symposium that you run, and all of a sudden your ego inflates and you do it wrong because you forget your mindset. You forget what got you there. You forget the grit, the stubbornness, the will to create what you wanted. If you start forgetting those things, you'll start replacing mindset with a false sense of mastery. So Sam, in a way, you made me connect those words in a different fashion. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, we are a little bit over time right now, but I'd like to get some final thoughts. I would get some from Fran, but he disappeared. So Sam, let's start with you.
Screw that guy.
Yeah, right. Sam, what are some final thoughts on mindset or mastery or anything that we've gone over so far today?
I think I've repeated myself too many times with that. So, I'll always go back to the same kind of things about values and all that good stuff. So, no, I just appreciate your time. So thanks for having me on. And there's no round
Anytime,
up and
brother.
repeat myself.
Anytime at all. Sean, final thoughts?
Yeah, Sam, the whole time that we've been talking, I've been looking at your back wall, not trying to study each individual image, but I've been getting a sense of what is a life of a mindset that I appreciate and a approach towards mastery or staying on the path that leads to inevitable mastery if you stay in it long enough. And so directly behind you this entire time has been a perfect example of mindset mastery if anyone pays attention to the details of the matter. So for all of us, anyone who's listening, between the three of us included, our lives are based on our mindsets. And to Sam's point, our values will dictate how notable that trajectory is, not only for ourselves, but for others who are observing from the sidelines. If you're running your program well, others will appreciate it and maybe jump onto that stream or into that trajectory for themselves. Along the way, if you do everything right and if you keep a righteous attitude, you may approach mastery. And I think it's something that's worth pursuing, if not only for yourself, but certainly to demonstrate to others that when you achieve a certain level of excellence, you come away from it a much richer human being, able to impart lessons to all those around you to some degree. So I don't want anyone to be scared about this subject, that mastery is a negative connotation that no one should ever pursue because it's too elite or too singularly focused on how you want to live your life. Mastery is something that is worth pursuing, if not for yourself, then for those around you.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't really have much to add to that because that was a bit of a mic drop moment.
I will add to that one slide if
something
you
to add?
want.
By all
As my
means.
roundup.
Yeah, give her.
It's just reminded me. I don't know why I forgot this. I have a kind of like mantra at the start of the year that I think about all the time, and it's just be undeniable in all that you do. And you can't go wrong there, because if I've set goals and intentions out to achieve this year, if I don't achieve them, or even when I do, you should be able to go, okay, let's look back. so your goal was to do, let's just say, for example, a marathon. Your goal was to do a marathon. If I didn't achieve that, well, let's look at your training regime. Did you have a day off you shouldn't have had off? Yeah, I did. You've not been undeniable then, have you? Because you chose to have that day off. I look at that in everything. Look. And that's why I bring it back to this collective podcast. You've been undeniable. You said you were going to do something. And no one can say, oh, no, they actually chose to have 2 weeks off or this or that. You set an intention and you've headed towards it and you've been undeniable. So whether this podcast gets 2 million followers or it gets 1,000 followers, you've been undeniable in your relentless pursuit for what you want it to do. So that's my 2 pence worth on that.
Well, you know what is undeniable? That was a mic drop, so bam.
So I will just finish off by saying that as we all learn what mastery actually is, we can build our mindsets to seek it, and that means that we can grow into the people that we are meant to be. And you can do that with us every day here on The Collective. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Chimo.
Chimo.
Thanks for having me.